like it's a normal show. Call the spaceships to Davenport, prepare for Divanarchy, and interface with a couch in space. It is Space Couch. We are in a time vortex once again. We are beaming from our present, your past, to your present, our future. At least that's what we've been able to determine on the instruments here. Our guest tonight, as we're filming out here, it's always night in the void here, but our guest has got such just gravitas that she's altered the time space continuum, and we are now beaming from the past. Also of import is this week's sponsor, brand new as always. We got a brand new one. It is Tiger Squawk Records out of Boston. You want to check out Chaos Tracer from Ireland. Oh, Basement Punk. It's fucking great. Beta Virus's I Go to Fight remixes. Super duper hot. Casting Curses. Science fiction went like trip hop. It's really cool. Sega Lugosi's Laundry Monday Half Price Movie Wednesday are out there. Insane. Squawk Jams. The Jock Jams tribute is equally insane. Raven Indisham Duckbag TM is wonderful. You want to check out the Church of Bryantology. I put all my side projects into one thing. You can get it now for free. And Hedonia from Elias Anesthesia out of Toronto. You want to check out the Godsicles Double Dragon Con, our Dragon Con song. You can get that. It was awesome. Spare Parts from Pill Brigade is out now. And Tiger Squawk versus Cop International. I can't believe that happened. That was the coolest shit ever. Second only to our guest this evening. We're gonna bring her right in a second because I wanna find out. Ladies and gentlemen, here she is, Donna Lynch. What is up?
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I am always happy to talk to sentient beings other than the AI here on the flying couch, let alone ones of your caliber. We're just gonna get right into it. So, new book
Yeah.
possibly?
Yes. So
Awesome.
not until next year, but
Okay.
it's written and
Oh, it's done.
yeah, it's done, and
Awesome.
it's another poetry collection.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's almost twice as long as Choking
Oh,
Back the People, the one that came out a couple years ago. Yeah, it's just going through the editing process right now. So
wow, that's gotta feel good, and I would imagine daunting. I've never had a book edited, but it's sort of like maybe if you get tracks to be mastered, like here's my baby, don't drop it on the soft spot.
yeah, it's luckily, most of the time it's just, like logistical editing, like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
you forgot a comma, you spelled
Right.
something wrong or whatever. Content editing it can be a little rough sometimes, but I work with really good people
Okay.
that are, pretty agreeable and we can discuss things. And honestly, 9 times out of 10, they're right. Their suggestion is better. So I'm grateful for it.
It's a skill to be able to learn to take that sort of direction. And
Yeah.
well, let me like you don't have all the you're an expert at this point. Yeah, you don't need to hear it from me is what I meant to say. Are you let's back up a step. I got too excited. What's the premise? Like, it's a poetry book, yes, but is it held together by a common thread, or is this moving in a direction emotionally for you?
Yeah, I I had written a few poems and I didn't know what I
Mm-hmm.
was going to do with them, and they all really centered around like teenage years, but not
Mm-hmm.
angsty teenage poetry because I write horror poetry, so it was obviously going in a very dark direction. And all of it had to do with growing up in a rural area, like like I did in a
Mm-hmm.
county, and So it's called Girls from the County because I decided I wanted to take all of the true stories from myself and my friends, and I wanted to intertwine them with rural legends and folklore.
Oh, fascinating.
So there's a lot of, there's just a lot of allegory. Like here's, this is absolutely a true story, except I've also incorporated, some witchy legend.
I love it.
So it's really cool, but
Yeah,
yeah. Speaking of legends and folklore,
hey, yes.
that
What's up,
invade
buddy?
yourself and
Is this space?
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, we're altering gravity today. Sorry if you caught the brunt of it there, man. But it is always wonderful to see the top of your head and hair, and that as of the audience will know is a super friend of the show, Stephen Archer. Thanks, man. The so we're I'm really excited just because that it's such an interesting idea to me because I'm flashing back in my mind to all the dumb stories that me and my friends had like made up about the area. Like we knew that in this certain pipe, if you went down it far enough, there was a bum with a 10-foot spear and he would attack you. Like I don't know how he determined the spear was 10 feet long, just like weird kid stuff. What's that?
you just knew.
You absolutely knew. I mean, that was not up for debate.
Yeah.
I mean, solidified in your 9-year-old mind. But what a great framework to build sort of a horror structure off of, and a poetic one at that.
Yeah, and it got really dark too because I wrote some very personal stuff in Choking Back the Devil, and it was very much exposing myself with that, but it was all stuff that I have had a long time to sit with, so it wasn't difficult writing it. It's not been difficult reading it.
Oh wow,
conventions and poetry. It doesn't really. I don't want to say it doesn't mean anything to me. It certainly means everything, but it doesn't evoke the feelings for me anymore. There are a couple pieces in this new one, and I'm sure over time it might be different. But I was my heart was racing.
Wow.
And I cried a few times as I was finishing.
It's intense.
Because they're not all my stories. I mean, they're, like I said, everything in the book has, like, every single piece has some basis in the truth, whether it was somebody I knew or something that was a legend.
Wow.
But it's not a legend I made up. It's actually one that's well known, on the books, as it were. So, it was an emotional experience going through that.
It's in the time, like in the superhero origin story of this book, as we like to say, was this just sort of the next collection after Choking Back the Devil, or this sounds like something you might have had in the clip for a while? Like,
no, I really hadn't.
Okay.
Had in there. I just like I said, I think I had written a few pieces just at random, and I inadvertently found the theme, and I thought, well, that would be a really interesting premise. And I think the thing that was important to me to get across was that growing up in a rural area, you were always told that the city was a scary place. And now when I was a little kid, I didn't catch the racism in that, like I didn't understand that in the county, that's what they're saying, which is terrible. And but when you're little, you don't, you're just like, oh no, what's in the city? The city's scary. And then as you grow up in these rural areas where, everybody knows everybody. And, especially in the 80s, when I was a kid, people weren't watching after you. You could go out all day and come, as long as you were home at some point, nobody was worried about it. But you become aware of all of the terrifying things. It's like, why does everybody say the city is scary? It's so much scarier out here.
That's true.
So it's there was a lot to work with. A lot of material, a lot of source material.
Yeah, it sounds like a really, really dense sort of critical mass. Is that I wanted to ask you about like the evolution and if you felt, because I do this from musical album to musical album, like were you armed with anything on Girls from the County that you weren't quote unquote armed with like a Choking Back the Devil or for Isabel or Isabel Burning, I meant to say, like is there an evolution, like a Pokemon evolution that you this might feature that the others might not?
Oh, totally. Well, I wrote poetry before I ever wrote any novels or novellas or anything. And, it was always the thing that came most naturally to me. And I think back then, like when I wrote Isabel Burning, which was my first novel, I started writing it in 2004, went through several drafts and edits, and then it was published in 2008, I think.
Wow.
But I know it, yeah.
It's a long. I mean, because it's like a long time to just have this intense material just
Yeah, I mean,
chilling.
I rewrote it.
Oh
twice,
wow, okay.
Because I mean, it was basically the same story, but it just needed so much work, and I had never done anything that massive before, so it's a lot. But I was glad I did it, and it was a really good learning experience. But I think one of the biggest differences is back then I didn't realize that horror poetry would have the audience that it does. I was like, well, I want to write horror, and I feel like other than the occasional like art gallery reading or something, like who reads this, who's gonna buy it, who's gonna I didn't know that there was and there would be an ever growing audience for it. So I'm glad I wrote a couple novels, I wrote a novella, but I never stopped writing poetry, and I'm really glad I didn't, because it's a really there's a lot of good stuff out there.
Well,
right now.
yeah, well, speaking of good stuff, let's get into Girls from the County. Where do we get this? Self-publishing, publisher?
No, it'll be out on Raw Dog Screaming.
You're
Press.
back with Raw Dog Screaming.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. They are the ones that put up with my bullshit, so I stick with them. It's not really. I'm not a diva. I'm very helpless. That's I'm always like, I don't know how to work this thing.
Right.
Please, somebody write to me immediately. I need a response right away. Please help. So.
Well, awesome. So we'll look for Girls from the County, spelled like you'd spell it, from Raw Dog Screaming Press next year-ish.
Yeah.
Q1.
Probably early to mid next year, I would think.
Q1, Q2. All right. So Space Couch Coutiers. This is your prime directive, is to watch out for Girls from the County, the next in a wonderful series of, I wouldn't say series because you do you, but the next poetry collection, if that's even the right word, from the intrepid Donna Lynch, who we all know, of course, already from musical offerings and guest appearances all over the place. So we'll do a little award talk. You have been on the cusp twice now for Bram Stoker Awards. Do you think this one might take home the gold? Does it matter? Do you have thoughts on it?
No, that would be really cool, but no, it doesn't matter. It's not
right.
If not winning an award keeps you from writing, then
I mean, that's.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, right. Like, can't release an album this year, guys. Didn't crack the Metro charts. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, you can't think like that.
That's a great attitude, I think.
It's amazing to get nominated, and, it would be even more amazing to win. But ultimately, you can't hang your hat on that forever. I mean, if anything, not getting nominated and winning, it puts the pressure on, because you're like, I can't suck. I have to keep doing better.
Oh, interesting.
You don't want your next thing to.
Right. You don't want just tour on that single you put out in '84. Like,
Right. It's a really cool thing. And I don't know, I don't know if this will resonate. I had worries that Choking Back the Devil wasn't going to quite be the thing, because it doesn't have a lot of traditional horror elements to it.
Right.
And I thought, I don't know if this is if this is going to take for people, but it did, and that was great. So we'll see.
Okay.
But it's not going to change anything either way for me. So.
Well, I mean, the recognition, like I know it's such a thrill being nominated, but like it is, like it's just somebody saw it and said, you know what, that's dope, and then
Yeah, no, I mean, believe me, like like teenage me was like, oh my god, I got a Stoker nomination, and then I got another one, and I was like, holy crap, like I can't. Even my mom, who doesn't read horror, when I told her, she said, I know what that is.
That's
I've seen
awesome.
that on books in the store.
I love it.
Yeah. And also, if I even just get nominated, I'll be happy because I have the punch card. They give you a punch card.
Like it's a coffee place?
Yeah, it's not officially through the Horror Writers Association, but it's pretty much everybody that's ever had a nomination has but didn't win gets the card, and then each time you get nominated but don't win, you punch another one out. And it says at the bottom that 10 nominations equals 1 Stoker, but I'm pretty sure it's just like you could go get like a free sub with it or something. I'm definitely going to try to shop it around once I've got it.
It definitely feels like a deal of Quiznos. Well, let's get into the text a bit, and I'm curious because I don't write prose or verse or otherwise outside of music. Do you find yourself slipping into like an ego likeness lyric writing brain? Is that the same thing? Is it just lyrics without music? I'm curious as to how those processes intertwine or don't.
Yeah, it's very similar. I have a little more freedom and leeway when it's poem versus lyrics, but I found that even in writing poetry, you can write hooks.
Sure.
Just lyrical hooks that really, and it can make the whole piece. You could have something that I think it was doing okay, but then you had some repetition, and that just drove it home. And so it's very, very similar. And yeah, I do think, I like the freedom of structure with poetry more so than with lyrics. But I think also just my, like the voice that I want to speak from or sing from is very much, it comes from the same place.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's maybe I should get into that. Like, I don't have to worry about falling on beat, and I can just cram these 5 extra syllables in. But
yeah, and also you can use, if you just write stuff like that, you can always go back and, cannibalize it for lyrics. I've done that. Our song South, that was originally a poem.
That was, okay, great.
Yeah,
awesome.
So, yeah, that happens sometimes. And, I feel like sometimes I'm being a little lazy when I do that, but
no,
at the same time, I'm like, hey, I wrote it. I can do whatever I want with it.
I always do that with music. Like when I try to write like a tough guy song, it always turns out to be about like, that's how Otter Time got started. And so I was trying to write like a power noise thing. So let me know if I didn't get it or there's more meat on this bone, but you mentioned you have some horror stuff coming up. What might that entail if that's descriptive enough?
Well, I have I've been writing and submitting more poetry to various anthologies, and I've started writing short stories, which is something I never did a whole lot of, and it's a lot harder than you would think. You'd think, oh, it's short stories.
Right. It's got the word short right in it. That means no effort.
It's not very easy.
Right.
But I'm working on it. So I've written a couple, and I've had a couple rejections, and then I have one that I won't know until December.
Ooh.
But I'm really hoping it does, because I love the I don't want to give anything away because I don't think it's officially been announced, but I love the theme of the anthology.
Okay.
And I really hope that the piece I wrote for it gets in. It is one of the weirder pieces I've ever written. It's very color out of space.
Oh, well.
Like
we are all about space here on Space Couch. Colors they're out of.
It's the more cosmic horror, I guess. And I
No.
don't write a lot of stuff like that, but it was fun to do. And then
Oh.
I got asked to be a part of an anthology.
That's exciting.
That'll be out next year. That's about Baba Yaga. So that's
Ooh.
going to be cool. It's right up my alley with all my stuff. And then, yeah, I have a piece coming up in a collection called What One Wouldn't Do. That's
Love it.
a poem that I have that. And then there's an anthology coming out called Under Her Skin that I have a piece in. So
Busy bee,
yeah.
look at you crushing it. Well, I have to say, we are very pro HPL here on Space Couch. So any endeavors by the great Donna Lynch into cosmic horror set my tentacled heart ablaze. But we will also definitely check out the anthologies to which you've been invited. I'm sure that's all coming up. Where is the best place for people to learn about that? Like at the Donna Lynch Facebook or something like that?
Yeah, on my Facebook is honestly just the easiest thing. We always have website things under construction, and it's very we're really bad at it.
Okay.
So yeah, the Facebook page will always have everything, and I have an artist page on Facebook that's also Donna Lynch, and that is less cluttered with random stuff. It's pretty much just straight up like writing.
Okay. Great. And for literary offerings, probably Raw Dog Screaming Press's own website, but I don't know if there's anything we should be searching for, like Amazon or anything.
Oh yeah, it's all this stuff's on Amazon, but yeah, it's you can go directly to rawdogscreaming.com.
Okay.
And anything of mine that they've published is you can get it through there.
Great.
And if you want to,
that is for, of course. I'm sorry.
Oh, I said if you want to cut out that giant middleman.
Yeah, well, we are all about tesseracting here on Space Couch, and you'll want to check that out for, of course, Girls from the County coming up next year. Speaking of product, we got to get into this. I saw the debut of Lowell, Massachusetts' synth pop project Fatigue Saturday night in Salem, and the front woman was wearing a Garbage Witch shirt. Yeah, if you know Lil. Although I only bring that up because it just happened. It is not hard to find Garbage Witch stuff among our tribe. This line is just taken off. Tell me about Garbage Witch.
I just can't believe how, much it has taken off, considering it was just something I said when I was drunk.
Is that it? Oh my God, that's
amazing.
amazing.
I hate that I give people the impression that I am this wild, partier, because I'm truly not. Like, people, if you only ever see me at a show, you're going to see me drinking, of course. Like, that's not my day-to-day life at all. And, but I came home one night and I was in a mood. I was in a state. I was feeling very bad about myself, I guess.
Okay.
And I sit down and I'm looking at Facebook or something, and there's all of these like lovely messages from people, just, saying nice things about me, and, and I'm like, why are they saying things about, and as I'm talking, I'm knocking things over, and I'm like, I just feel like everybody thinks I'm like this magical thing, and I'm just a fucking garbage witch. I don't know why. I just, I'm like crying. And poor Steve is just sitting there. He's like, oh my God, please pass out. Please go to bed. Just stop. And so I got to thinking about it, and I don't know why, but it stuck with me the next day. I thought, that is so funny. Like, just like, what a stupid thing to say. And so, so I developed the philosophy behind it of just being like, embrace both sides of yourself.
Okay.
You can be this magical, wonderful thing, and you can also be a total dumpster fire, and that's okay.
That's so good.
You can, and then, we live in the woods, so we have no shortage of possums and raccoons and things that we are constantly having to keep out of the garbage. So I thought, man, that's just it's a good mascot.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's amazing.
So that's where it came from.
And just this is a line of branded items. You're up to all manner of shirts and other paraphernalia, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah, we have. I mean, there's 4 designs now, and then we have like shirts and hoodies and stuff. But then we go through Printful for all of these other things, like like the water bottle
Yeah.
and pillows and bags and
Right.
beach towels and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
So we're other than designing it, we're very hands off, honestly,
Right.
with it,
Right.
because it's just we don't have the time or the capital to put up to
No,
kind of put together this whole big thing. So
Printful's great, but
yeah,
no, Tiger Squawk is a big proponent thereof. The Tiger Squawk flip flops should show up any day now.
okay.
But
Need some of those.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So where we can get Garbage Witch stuff again on Facebook, where should we check that out?
Yeah, if you go to the thing I'm most active with is Garbage Witch is on Instagram.
Mm.
So it's Garbage Witch Original, and then there's a link to the Big Cartel page
Okay, great.
on there, and then there is a Twitter for Garbage Witch, and there is a Facebook page for Garbage Witch as well. But I think I'm most active on Instagram. So
Okay, so it's awesome. So it's Garbage Witch is a brand. It's you. There's some blurring of the line. How would you describe the Garbage Witch phenomena?
I mean, it's just weird. Well, the thing that everybody loves about it is people think it's a band.
Okay,
And of course you would, because
sure.
all of the logos look like band logos. So
Mhm.
absolutely you would think it was a band, but it's kind of funny to like just fuck with people. Saw them play the other night.
You're right. Yeah. It's so on brand. It's I love it. I mean, and it's kind of a Garbage Witch act. Yeah, like that's great. It's
Yeah.
meta.
And it's really it's cute because at conventions, there's still a lot of people who don't know that it's me. So if Ego Likeness might be playing a convention, and I've literally seen people walking around in Garbage Witch stuff, and I've been like, "Oh, I like your shirt," and they're like, "Oh, thanks," and like, no idea.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah. So, uh, um, I guess just have really catchy drunken ideas is the sequel. Well, I don't
I
know.
mean, I think for every 100 of those, like there was
Right.
one that was
You
just
get a garbage.
yeah.
So get good at self-editing. Maybe is the moral there, and just have incredible drive and be a ball of talent. That, but those are Donna things, and
You don't really need it, but
oh well, but you're so good at it. Um, in COVID world, this sort of gets to be a trickier question to ask, but nobody travels like ego likeness. And I was just wondering if you could talk to me about a little woo woo, if you don't mind, the sort of the importance of travel. Like, what does that sort of do for you to be like, all right, you're in the Maryland area now, but
Mhm.
Saturday morning I'm in Phoenix, and then it's Poland or whatever. Give me the
It's
go on.
oh no, it's amazing. It's my favorite thing. I mean,
Hmm.
even if it wasn't for traveling for music, if it was anything else, like any reason to do it,
Hmm.
I am at my most relaxed when I'm driving very long distances for
Yeah, that
many
is
hours.
crazy to me. Like people have. I'm like, how do you do it? And they're like, Donna's amazing at that. So you just zone out, or
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say so.
you're driving. It's a full time
Yeah. Well, I've
visual
said that
activity.
before, and I'm like, wait, that sounds incredibly
Yeah,
dangerous.
no.
That's not what I'm doing. No, but I just think. I mean, I've come up
Hmm.
with book ideas while
Okay.
driving, and then when we stop, I'm just jotting stuff down. Um, yeah, I just like taking it all in, and I like the just the movement, just
Mm.
constantly moving, and especially when you're driving cross country. I mean, I hate driving like down the street to go to
Right.
Target or something. I don't enjoy that. I don't like
Mhm.
sitting just driving around doing little errands. I'm talking like getting on the highway
Mhm.
and going. Um, I mean, I could just do it nonstop.
Mm.
Like it doesn't wear me out. Um, just everything the scenery changing, the weather changing, like just everything.
It's pretty
And
addicting, I have to say.
I have like favorite rest areas, you know, like
Oh, I do. That, like, I have sentimental Buc-ee's, you know?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, definitely. I mean, and you know, we'll be driving and somebody will say, "Oh, I have to pee," and I'm like, "Okay, well, there's a place coming up, but can you hold it like another 30 miles because the one I like better is coming past that." So,
and just the idea, this is a weird concept, but like, I don't know if it's a Midwest thing. Like, growing up in small town Wisconsin, the big city is Milwaukee. Like, there's just this idea that, like, I could never get to, let's say, California or Austin or something like that. There's just these impenetrable places. And maybe if you like fly and magic happens in the air, but something about just you get in your car and you can just go there and then you're there. It's like, oh, these are all, that's how it works. It's a really interesting sort of concept. I don't know if that makes it.
It makes perfect sense, and I know it always sounds it sounds so obvious when you say that. Well, I went there and then I was there.
Right.
But you have to, it's something you have to do. What you said is so true. People always, when I talk about driving cross country, people say, "Oh my God, like that's such a massive undertaking. I don't even know how we would ever do that. It's such a thing." And it's like, it's not. I mean, if you have a couple of drivers that you can, I mean, you know,
you
one
can
of the things,
do it.
Well, I remember the first time we were doing a U.S. tour, and Ethan Morales was, he's our booking agent for Ego Likeness. So he was booking us, and he said, when I was in Spawn Ranch, he's like, "I can tell you for a fact that you can make it from New York to Phoenix in 44 hours or something." I don't know. It was just something ridiculous. And I was like,
insane.
That sounds terrible. But he's like, "No, you can do it." And we did. And he was right. And then I thought, that's not that crazy. Sounds crazy if you've never done it. But once you know how I always describe it to people when they say, "I don't know how you drive like 8-9 hours a day." I'm like, it's like going to work.
It's like yeah.
I'm in my office.
Right. People will plan for an event for like a year to 6 months out. We're talking about 48 hours worth of work. It's bizarre. There's the weird mental block that I had to get over. Like, how would you ever? You just do it, man.
You just do.
Like, there was when we were on tour with Angel Spit. Carl's like, "Yeah, the gigs in Salt Lake City next week." And we're like, all right, okay, I guess we're driving. We're gonna figure out how to do it from Chicago. That was crazy. But you have added a new element, not recently, you've been at it a while, is travel photography. We got to sample some stuff here. I wanted to share it with our audience because I think it's pretty dope. I just got a few things. Where's this going on? I don't know if you
that
can
is
see
in middle of nowhere, Idaho.
Nice.
And I just couldn't. So I'll start by saying almost everything that I've done has been done on iPhones, different generations of iPhones. And obviously I, do, some manipulation, but I just don't, you don't have to call me a photographer if people want to have that debate. I mean, I do know how to take a picture with a real camera. I used to do that all the time, but, I'm not carrying, a several $1,000 digital camera on the road with me. So I'm going to use my phone. And I'm going to just play with the pictures because what I wanted to do with this travel collection, I wanted to make the pictures look like the way it made me feel when I was there.
See, that's amazing.
So that's what I use the editing programs.
Yeah. No judgment. I mean, hell yeah. Like, if any actual rocket scientists have a problem with me not actually being in space, it's no judgment here on Space Couch. That wouldn't even fall in the realm because these are hot. I mean, we could power the ship with these. There's so much fuel coming off of them.
Thank
Like we
you.
got this is in somewhere in Ohio. That looks.
Idaho,
Or
actually.
sorry, brain fart. But or we're losing oxygen out here in space. I hope it's the former. That looks great. And then if I do, this is where's
That
that?
is. Oh no! How did I forget this already?
Are you
I
at?
want to say it is Cartagena.
Wow.
Or no, wait a minute. It might be San Juan. I'm sorry.
Wow. Was that
I
like
should
a
label these. No, I have them labeled somewhere, but now it's
No, I
it's
just
gonna be
yeah.
weird.
Well, we'll call it San Juan. Was that my like a cruise thing, or because I know you guys do
Yeah.
that a lot? Awesome,
hmm
awesome. Uh,
That's
and,
Cartagena, Colombia.
wow. Oh, we got to see Voltaire at Dragon Con and do a little cruise talk for our brief cruise that we had with
Oh,
him.
that's
So
good.
that was cool. He's doing well. He's killed, of course. Um, then oh
That is in your neck of the woods.
oh yeah.
That's witch the witches memorial,
Oh wow. Okay, yeah. We were just in
Salem.
Salem. Awesome. Um, Kodo's still going strong. I know what that is,
You
but
do know. You have to know
yeah.
what that is. It's the House on the Rock in
Oh,
Spring Green, Wisconsin.
yes, it. I love it. I love it. It's like I don't know. I think you have an affinity for if you have an affinity for like bad movies or just like glorious monuments to weirdness and trash.
Mhm.
You gotta do that House on the Rock, man.
It's
This may be
amazing.
right. This may be the Wisconsin in me coming out, but like it's so indescribable and it's shitty but amazing. I don't know. You got to do it. It takes you forever to get there, but it's totally worth the drive. I forgot what we were on. That was E, and then what's that's amazing.
Thanks. That is Gaviota State Park in California.
Oh
Uh,
wow, these are taken like on a combination of like tours or vacations or cruises or how do you?
yeah, I mean, it's usually we very rarely go any place that's just for fun,
Mm-hmm.
vacation time. So it's always a tour or, like like cruise, which is super fun, but we're still working
You're
on
still
it.
working, yeah, yeah. I'm trying to. I've promised my wife that I won't play a show on our honeymoon, but like it's tough.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Or we play on our anniversary every year. We have
nice.
a show.
And so will you just be like driving along in the ego van and be like, stop, I gotta, you have an eye for it now.
Yeah. Also, and I mean, I look for places ahead of time too, because I
Oh,
think, well,
okay.
got a little bit of time. This, there looks like there could be a really nice place to stop here, there. But yeah,
Oh,
sometimes just driving, like that place, we were just driving up the coast and I saw that it was there and there was a parking area and it was obviously a park. So
mm,
yeah, we just stopped and, didn't even know what it was or
cool.
anything. So
So
yeah.
targets of opportunity to be sure, but it's enough of a passion, let's say, if I can chance that word, that you do plan out and be like, I'm going to get some great pictures out
Yeah.
of this. Awesome, awesome. And we have, that's cool.
That's New Orleans. It's
Love it.
um, St. Louis One Cemetery.
Got to do it. And
That's back at the same beach, the Gaviota.
okay.
I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. I'm sure if
Well,
anybody in
let
California is listening, they could tell me.
let's get into the art of it or the digital art of it if you like you to me this feels evocative of like something old and
hmm
retrospective. Is it what were you looking for if I can ask that?
I just started messing with it
Mm-hmm.
and realized that if I was messing with the contrast enough, I could get some really interesting textures in it, as opposed to just, because from when I took the original shot, it was just so silhouetted you couldn't really make out anything. So, yeah, I wanted to just bring out and see how many different patterns and textures I could get.
Cool. And we got that was that looks pretty.
That's
cool.
San Francisco.
Love it. And
so that is Atlantic City, New Jersey, and I manipulated the shit out of that one because I have a recurring dream about being on a boardwalk, and I wanted to see if I could get it to look as close to the dream as possible, and it's close.
Because this looks very cool. Like it's very, I don't know, Dark City, or like this sort of like out of time cyclopean sort of like what's going on in the background there. Good stuff. That was and then we did that one, and then let's end on whatever that is. Looks gorgeous.
That is Hollywood.
I love it. So anything you'd like to shoot, like pie in the sky, like I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but mountain stuff, swamp stuff, sewers.
I mean, I've done, kind of
done it all.
Been all over the place.
Yeah, you really have been.
I want to get more into doing nighttime stuff, because now that I have, the iPhone 12 has all the nighttime settings.
Oh, cool.
And I haven't really explored that. I think it would be interesting to start messing around with that, and maybe like bringing an external light source to just see what kind of stuff I could get at nighttime, because I don't. Usually it's just it's too difficult.
Well, I mean, no one has an eye for darkness like the wonderful Donna Lynch. With all these projects going on top of a long running, massively successful project like Ego Likeness, does this allow you for a sort of reset from music, or is it all sort of in the same vein anyway?
No, I mean, yes, it is, but at the same time, it is a bit of a reset. We haven't had an album out in several years now. I just, between, the success that Stoneburner is having right now, like Steve is very focused on that. And, when I started getting, more recognition with my writing, that obviously I wanted to put more focus on that as well. But it isn't that, we're abandoning ego. I certainly don't want to give that up. But between those other things sort of, moving to the forefront, it got me thinking that I want to do something different. I'm ready to go in a slightly different direction with ego, but I haven't put my finger on it yet.
Right.
And I'm hoping that by expanding some of the mediums that I'm working in, it will start filling me up a little bit more with those ideas and getting a better jumping, giving me some other jumping off points that I didn't have before.
That's amazing. I love that sort of synergy. Like, yes, I'm doing this other thing, but like now I can write about this experience or that experience because I had them. That's great. Oh, that's really exciting. Well, on one level, because I'm a giant Ego Likeness fan, so when you say like new direction, I haven't put my finger on. I'm just, what's it gonna be? But I am equally excited for the time that's affording you for some other projects. We want to check out Girls from the County.
Yeah, county. Yeah,
and that. Regionally, is that in like Virginia or?
Well, my stories are all from rural Maryland, I have talked to people from all over the country, and one of my friends that grew up in northern England, she was telling me stories about her childhood and teenage years, and because she grew up in a very, very small rural town in the UK. So we all have, and it's so funny because it doesn't really matter where you were from. If you grew up in the middle of nowhere, you just had the same experiences.
Right. It's
ubiquitous.
This emotional truth there. And don't let me put words in your mouth, but like presenting it in a poetic fashion sort of allows her that sort of emotional thrust of because it's coming from memory and you're transplanting my weird bum with a 10-foot spear, maybe,
Yeah.
your crawdaddy swamp thing who eats children who don't do the math homework or
Yeah.
whatever.
And every town has the haunted covered bridge.
Yes.
Every world
We had a bridge.
Yes, they
Love
do.
it.
And did you have a bunny man or some sort of hybrid maniac, like human animal hybrid?
There wasn't an
maniac?
animal. There was, well, it, Milwaukee got weird after Dahmer because that was always the threat. Like Jeffrey Dahmer is behind it. That was if you were a little kid, and it
Yeah.
was 1990 or whatever. But so there was that, and then there was. We were too Midwest for the Yeti. I think it was just like troll, like very trolly.
Yeah. We have a goat man
Oh,
because
not the goat-faced girl.
No, this is the Goatman of Bowie because it's down near where the all the for the country, like the headquarters of the agricultural, near DC.
Mm-hmm.
So like it was some sort of creature, half man, half goat, that escaped from these agricultural laboratories that the government
government.
Yeah, that crazy government.
Well, next time you play Boston, you'll have to go through the Cryptid Museum in Maine. Heidi and I went. It was glorious.
Ooh, I would love to.
Yeah,
see that. Yeah.
It was amazing. Cryptids, of course, are as of yet undiscovered creatures. We have an as of yet unpublished book coming out soon from Raw Dog Screaming. We have so many anthologies. Some of which are confirmed, some of which may or may not be happening. Anything else we should be on the lookout for? Perhaps new Garbage Witch merchandise, or are you involved in this editing process right now, or is it mostly the
for the book?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they've sent me back their changes and suggestions, so it's just a matter of me sitting down and incorporate.
You got that plate spinning. Anything else we should be on the lookout, or have we?
I mean, we have the Gothic cruise that we're leaving for in 2 days. So
I have dropped the goth ball so hard.
No, and I mean, I have to say, like, it's so difficult this year because I mean, I'm very happy with the precautions and the mandates that are happening with the cruise line itself, because it wasn't looking so good at first, and now everybody must be vaccinated.
Right.
Story, and you still have to show up with negative test results that were taken 2 days before you get on board. So it's and you still have to wear masks on board. So I'm like, okay, I can handle that. I mean, I'm really excited about it, but it's been very stressful this year. But I am looking forward very much to, hopefully someday it getting back to what it's always been. I think we're all going to have a good time, but it's very different this year.
Oh yeah, well, we just did our first Dragon Con slot.
I know. I was going to say something. How much fun did you have?
Unreal, like unreal. Like, I'd heard that you're gonna sell this merch, and then so I brought all this merch and it wasn't moving. I actually texted Steven just because I needed I was freaking out. Like, I'm gonna get taken to the cleaners, and then we played. It was fine. It was great. It was amazing. It was so awesome. It was everything I wanted it to be and more. And the reason I bring it up is because they had equal precautions. We're not gonna let it slide. Like, you got to have masks and all this stuff. And the thing that I heard, go on.
I said it's just very scary.
It's very scary, but I think everything was fine. I don't think we had an outbreak. I hope you have the same.
Thank you.
Results. It looks like a great lineup. I mean, you guys are
Well,
cruise
this year
veterans.
it's Rain Within and Stoneburner. Everybody else had to,
Oh, they
you know,
all. I didn't know
well,
that.
yeah, because well, you know, there were a ton of cancellations
Mm.
as the mandates were changing, and then borders, like people like our Canadian people that come every year
I
aren't
didn't even
there.
think about
You
that.
know, Rotorsan was supposed to play, but
Yeah.
they're in Europe. Like how it's just it worked out for the best. Everybody that was supposed to play this year is playing next year.
Oh, great.
So,
So,
so yeah, this year it's Rain Within and Stoneburner.
so
Um,
it's. I'm happy it's still going on because the
mhm.
one time we did, we had a great time. I'd like to see that event continue. It's just it sounds like it's going to be different. I mean, no one has cruise experience like you, so you know how to like position yourself on a boat and like rock a stage that may be swaying a little bit and all that,
Yeah,
right?
isn't that fun?
It's. I just did it the one time. I think you know.
When you go to jump, if the boat has moved and you land and you don't land where you think you're going to because the floor went like that.
Thank you. See, that is the kind of insider tip you can only get on Space Couch. If you're playing a boat and you jump, you might not land in the same place. So think
Mhm.
beforehand. The more you know. All right. So we're going to check out Girls from the County from Raw Dog Screaming very soon. You can get Isabel Burning, Choking Back the Devil right now. They're amazing. Find out more about Donna at the Donna Lynch, Facebook. Garbage Witch. It's hotter than hot. Check that out on Facebook as well. This is Brian for Space Couch for Donna saying, call the spaceships to Davenport, prepare for the Vanity. Innovative with Country Space Couch out. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. And we'll just go to the outro here. I think I screwed up the. I don't know if you can still hear me over this.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, I did something to the audio, but we have these wonderful sponsors here for Space Cows Patreon. Then we love them, and we love you, Donna. Thank you
really
so
hear you
much. Yeah, well, do that in just 1 second.